Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over yet another crazy and entertaining email that was sent from a subscriber. So my guy, he sounds like he's about 33, 34 years old, and he's going to share the story of his best friend who about 12, 13 years ago dumped his fiancée before they were going to get married because his fiancée pulled one of the craziest tests on him I've ever heard. She pretended that she got into a car accident, got into a coma, and almost died. All for the reason of, well, you're going to see. And that'll be a very good one to go over here, guys, just to show you the lengths that some women, and I'm saying some women, not all, some will go to test their guy, to pull a bunch of BS, all that. And the lengths they'll go, their friends will go to lie, manipulate, all that. It's unbelievable. And you're going to see here, this girl has no shame. But you see, you're going to see that there are some red flags about her early on that I picked up on immediately. And some of you guys might as well before I even say it. And the lessons of the story, guys, of course, are how some of the bullshit that women will pull to manipulate a guy, get what they want, the lengths they'll go to test him, how the friends will a lot of times be in on their plans and lie through their teeth, how they don't care how they make the guy feel, any of that stuff. And you have to always have a very good BS detector, a good BS radar. And that does require being aware that BS can happen, but also some common sense. Not let your emotions take over everything. Got to be logical and rational even when it's difficult to do so. And of course, how to always have a good bro by your side to help you out when you're down and to help smack some sense into you. Very good one here. So, starts off, he says, hello SSM. Your videos yesterday about the guy's girlfriend lying about her friend Katie got me thinking about my time. My friend and I busted his girlfriend faking a car accident in coma, and she got her friend's help to help her. After listening to those videos, I'd bust on him a bit about it, and he gave me the go-ahead to send our misadventure. Well, I'm very glad that you sent this in. This is definitely a good one. And yeah, that story I did a couple days ago. If you guys didn't see it, definitely check it out. And yeah, that was definitely one of the craziest ones I've ever done. Matt and I have been good friends since middle school. Our senior year of high school, Beth transferred in, and the two of them became a couple. She seemed all right, if not an exaggerated stereotype of the artsy girl. Artsy girl, huh? The second I saw that, and I know you put in quotes, artsy girl, I'm thinking those art types. And they're very usually dramatic. They're very typically far left in their leanings and views. Not the type that, in my opinion, would be a good girl for material, and we're going to come back to that later in the story. 2 years after graduating high school, they were still together, and Beth transferred to an art school in Florida, while Matt stayed in our hometown working to afford a home and a ring. At 20 years old, home and a ring. Now, I respect him saving up to buy a house. That's great. But a ring? Smack! 20 fucking years old? She doesn't need a ring. Work on yourself. You only knew her 2 years. But some people have to learn. In 2009, about a year of doing the long distance thing and visiting her, they got engaged. Smack! Too freaking young. 3 months afterwards, he proposed. Matt called me one afternoon and asked if I get to his place 3 months after he proposed, Matt called me one afternoon and asked if I get to his place ASAP. Myself and another one of our friends got to his apartment, and this man was utterly distraught. What could have happened? I thought maybe something had happened to his parents or siblings, but no, he said he got a call from an unknown number. It was best friend Janelle telling him that Beth had been in an accident the night prior and was in a coma. Well, that'll definitely send you through the roof. And that he was up in the air as if she would pull through. So she may die. Now, we obviously know this is all bullshit, but who does that? Who pretends to be a car accident and go in a coma and might not make it through? Will that tell you someone definitely is a little deranged? We were there to hang out with him and help him get through it. The BS-o-meter didn't start blipping yet until I asked him if he wanted me to drive him to Beth's parents' house. Matt said there was no need. After Janelle called him, she offered to call Beth's parents for him to tell them the news. So, you find out that your fiancée has been in a car accident, in a coma, and she might not make it. Don't you think that you're going to call her family? for support, to support them. And wouldn't you be on the next plane to Florida to be there, right? But no. So already you can see this is like, what the hell? I get that he was emotional and probably just all over the place, but there's some things that's like, come on. Matt said there was no need after Janelle called him and she offered to call Beth's parents, blah, blah, blah. 20 minutes later, she called him again to let him know that Beth's parents were leaving for Florida to be with Beth. I asked him if he had any contact with them through all this, and he said no. That's insane. Or that they didn't call him. I mean, come on, Matt. From my understanding, he had a good relationship with their parents, so it was fishy to me that her parents wouldn't at the very least have reached out to him, let alone not offered him to go to Florida with them. Beyond that, who the hell waits hours to tell anyone that sort of thing? How had Janelle found out before anyone else if she called Matt hours after the fact? But I didn't say anything about it just yet. Well, I know looking back you probably wish you would have. The second BS ping was when Matt was kicking himself for getting into a fight with Beth the day before the so-called accident. According to him, they had been arguing frequently because he wasn't making enough time for her and she wanted his attention. Well, how much time can he make from her if they're doing a long-distance relationship? Which, by the way, is not a good idea. Especially and being engaged that young to a artsy girl. Like I said earlier, she was the poster child for artsy girl. And most of the types of girls I've encountered in life, they have the flair for dramatics. Every girl I've ever known, like throughout high school and college, that were really into art or theater, which people would categorize in the arts, yeah, very dramatic. And what's the word in dramatic? Drama. And what do you guys don't need in your life? Drama. About 2 hours after getting to Matt's place, Janelle called again to tell Matt that she'd turned for the worst. What the fuck? Matt broke down. By now I'm pretty suspicious and took the phone to ask Janelle what hospital and what room number was Beth so we could send flowers ahead. This girl straight up went, "Let me quick find out," and just hung up. Like she doesn't know. Not suspicious at all, right? A few more hours passed, and I thought to try approaching Matt with the likelihood this was all BS. I asked him for the make and model of Beth's car and other information, and went to online sites for Florida's Highway Patrol and Department of Transportation to find traffic reports in the last 48 hours. There's an idea. You're a pretty sharp young guy. Not a single one anywhere near where Beth lived matched her or her vehicle. I showed this to Matt, and you could see he started to have a kernel of doubt, but argued that either the report hadn't been put out yet, or she must have been further away from home, so I hadn't looked far enough. I get he's emotional as hell, and I get he doesn't want to think that this could be a big lie. I mean, who would want to think that? But still. I told him to call Janelle and ask where the accident occurred, and to maybe finally get the hospital name and room number where he was at. Janelle didn't answer the phone, and he left a message. Imagine that. Again, maybe it's a good time to call the parents. Janelle didn't return the call for a while later, and he received an email with a picture of a wrecked car attached. Oh my God. It was totaled, and it kind of matched the color of Beth's car, and that was about all that was discernible. At that point, I was pretty sure this was all some banquet of twisted bullshit. What's more twisted is the girl involved and her friends going along with this story and why they're doing it, which you'll find out momentarily. But as they say, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. I didn't want to push the issue with Matt when his emotions were all over the place, and I didn't want to leave him alone for these girls to sink their claws into any further. I asked him what he wanted to do. Was he going to stay at home or was he going to fly to Florida? Matt had been able to get a few days off of work, but was trying to scrape up the rest of the money needed to get a last-minute flight. I told him, "Don't worry about the money, I'll drive you there." He eventually agreed, and I drove him from South Carolina all the way to Sarasota, Florida, to find out what kind of insanity he was dealing with. Dude, you're a good friend. South Carolina, Florida is no small trip. Along the way to Sarasota, I told him he should try calling Beth's parents. He did, but their phones went right to voicemail, and no one answered at their house either. This is getting more suspicious by the minute. Matt asked what were we going to do once we get there, since Janelle hadn't called back with the hospital information as of yet. I told him we figured we would stop by Beth's place first. Her parents might pick up there to stay, or a roommate might have heard which hospital she's at. Worst case scenario, we get a hotel close to their place. In reality, if this was all BS like I suspected, Beth would be home anyway. And what do you guys think happened next? It was early morning when we reached Beth's house. What do our elven eyes see in the driveway? Beth's car. Either the body shops in Florida worked with the speed of 1,000 Oompa Loompas, or this whole thing was indeed bullshit. Well, I don't think the Oompa Loompas are going to leave the chocolate factory to fix Beth's car. I don't think it was a divine miracle that the body shops fixed the car so quickly. So obviously this is a big bunch of crap. Matt is red in the face as it finally clicks in place for him. He tried the door and the doorbell, but no one answered, and it sounded like no one was home. We got back in my car and parked across the street and waited for someone, namely Beth, to come out. I decided to nap and was shaken awake by Matt somewhere around the afternoon. Beth wasn't leaving the house. She and two women came stumbling out of a car in club clothes. It must have been a miracle. She somehow healed, got out of her coma bed, went home, changed into club clothes, went out and celebrated that she didn't die, and she's coming back now. That must be the explanation to this whole thing, because who would think that she would fake this whole story here? Holy fucking shit. She faked the whole damn thing. All a mess and their heels in their hands. Matt stormed out of the car and into the driveway to confront Beth. Man, I wish this is 2009, so obviously, unless he had was the iPhone invented? Yeah, the iPhone came out, I think, in 2007. So if he had an iPhone, he could have recorded this whole thing. I'll never forget the look of pure and utter shock and guppy mouths Beth and the one woman made. The second guppy was Janelle. The third was the roommate who allegedly wasn't in on the ploy. Well, she wasn't expecting that. Matt demanded the ring back and started cussing her and Janelle out. I would be doing far more than that. Well, we can make out from all her sobbing, and it wasn't supposed to go this far. Beth had just wanted to feel like Matt cared about her and wanted his attention and wanted him to realize that in her eyes, he was taking her for granted. So she's claiming she did all this, faked a car accident, going into a coma, almost dying, got her friends involved just to test to see how much he cared. Now, don't get me wrong, I have seen women go to great lengths to test their guy on other areas, but also test to see how much they care. This is fucking insane. But remember what he said in the beginning, artsy girl. What comes along with artsy girls? Drama. They're dramatic. There you go. This is despicable. Says here, she and Janelle had cooked this crack scheme up and waited for her parents to be out of town on a retreat so there'd be no risk of getting them drawn into it, because she figured they would have it resolved with her miraculous recovery before they got back into town. Beth begged him for a second chance, and when he said no, she blocked his way to getting into my car. I'd be like, get your lying ass out of my way. She then laid down in the middle of the street screaming that I ruined their relationship by bringing him to Florida because I wanted to get him playing for the other team to have him to myself. Oh, okay, it's this guy's fault for driving him 500 some miles or probably more to Sarasota, Florida from South Carolina to help him when he thought that she was in a coma, could die at any minute. He's the bad guy. Never mind, she cooked up this whole thing to get his attention. And by the way, they were coming back from the clubs in the middle of the night. I'm sure other things were going on here. And it's his fault. What's the joke about, women and accountability? The only thing that pried her away from the car so we could leave was the neighbor calling the cops about all the noise. After explaining the situation, we were let go. We went to a hotel for the night. Matt called Beth's parents and left a voicemail detailing the whole ordeal, and we went back home. Well, that's a story to tell the grandkids. For about the next 6 months after that, Beth would tell anyone back home who would listen to her that Matt had cheated on her and she had been the one to break it off. She's leaving out a very important part of the story why he broke it off with her. I like to say that experience wisened him up to the ways of wily women, but unfortunately, no. It would be 6 years and becoming a single father for him to get his head out of the clouds. You mean more like getting his head out of his ass? Nowadays, he's successful and has his focus solely on raising his 2 kids with relationships and women an afterthought until his kids graduate high school. Thanks for reading either way and keep up the good work. Bro, thank you for sending that story. That is freaking crazy. But guys, I'm telling you, I tell you all the time, the lengths the gals will go to get their way, test a guy, make a lot, not give in to the pressure of coming clean about what they're doing, to cover things up. You've heard it. And again, I mean, this guy was inspired by the story I did a couple days ago, which I know a lot of you guys really enjoyed the video. It was a great story I did a couple days ago. But holy crap. So what do we learn from this story? Number one, you relationship guys, do not date art girls, artistic girls, artsy girls, whatever you want to call it, because, as he said, a flair for the dramatic. I've never known a gal that was really into the art studies or anything in that whole spectrum under art that wasn't fucking dramatic as all hell and into theatrics. Don't waste your time, because again, what is part of dramatic? Drama. You don't need that. Don't waste your time. 2, how the friends will cover for the girl and go along with her whole ridiculous plans. Be aware of that. Also, if there's red flags, follow through. If there's a situation things don't quite add up, you can't let your emotions completely take over. That you're not going to let the logic come in and evaluate the situation. It was understandable that he was an emotional mess thinking that his girl, because he would never imagine she would do such a thing, lie about getting into an accident in a coma and she may die and he can't reach her family. Who would think that anybody would do that? I mean, seriously. But fortunately, his friend was there to be the logical side and say, wait a second here, these things don't quite add up here, and helped him out. And how upon confronting her, and of course, obviously it wasn't a miracle from heaven, she was fine, and the Oompa Loompas didn't fix her car, and the car was fine, she made this whole damn thing up. What does this say? Does this sound like a gal that loves her guy? No. And to be perfectly honest, I think this was just a big thing to get him to break up. She could blame it all on him, you know. Oh, he's not paying enough attention to me, even though we're doing a long-distance relationship. So I'm going to make up this whole story when we break up. Yeah, it's just completely screwed up. And then it ended with her telling everybody else that he cheated on her, and that was the reason for it. And her blaming the friend for ruining everything because he brought him down there. You got to be shitting me. But there you go. So, guys, lots to learn in these stories, as well as quality entertainment. Like I said, you just can't make this shit up. It's amazing. God, I mean, all these stories that come in, you can make shows out. There can be Netflix series on all these crazy stories. But maybe that's an idea for another day. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below what you think about this. Let this guy know what you think. And also, I forgot to say this to your friend Matt here. I hope you've learned your lesson. I hope you're doing well. Don't fall for these mistakes again. Focus on your career, being a great dad, and in the future, take your time with the gals, and don't make the mistakes you made before. And this guy that shared the story, to Matt, definitely cherish his friendship. You cannot substitute a loyal bro. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.